These are two important aspects for today's topic, which is finding your voice. In finding your voice, the real effort is connecting with something in yourself that you need to feel good about and connecting with others, sharing that joy. Like, it can be a frustration. It can be an opportunity. It can be a passion. But it is really this connection that you're looking for when you're finding your voice. Like, defining finding your voice, from my perspective, obviously I'm old, so I talk in absolutes, but obviously, like, from my perspective, it is about connecting bits of yourself to yourself and also connecting with others. What have you else that have you found critical in finding your voice?
I just feel like my confidence in myself, not even based on what I get from the community, is just because what people see, like, we're right now, a bunch of people are watching us side by side right here, and they feel like involved. Obviously,
they are involved.
People saying hi and hi to all of you. I will roll for initiative later. But like, you feel like you're in a room of people, but in reality, if I were to cover this camera right now, I'm in a room by myself. Like, there is nobody here. And finding joy in the silence. And that's something I found, because I used to hate silence. I just didn't like it. And I'm an introvert who parades as an extrovert because, of course, just my job titles. I was a circus performer. Like, everything that I do.
What kind? Wait. Let's take a moment. What flavor of circus performer were you?
I can do everything but juggle. I used to do aerial acrobatics, fire breathing, fire eating. I did some sideshow. I've done glass eating, glass walking, all kinds of stuff. I love that. I did it before I moved to Savannah, and I had to take care of my mom, who had a quadruple heart bypass.
Oh, no.
She was sick, and I gave it all up to come down and take care of her. And as we're getting older, I'm in my mid-30s.
Ooh, you don't look at Azkadalia. Oh, my God.
I don't. I look like I'm 12. It's fine.
Were you doing Jim Rhodes, or what's the equivalent of that nowadays? Or is it all like the Renaissance Festival? Like, which circuit were you doing?
So, I started at the Renaissance Festival, and I did alternative events before I even knew board gaming conventions were a thing. And I'm so sad I didn't know, but I'm glad I do now. But I did Comic Cons, I did horror conventions, and I saw some people doing some fire stuff. I was like, that's really cool. So I got in with them, and they showed me how to do fire and do it safely. I got insured for it. And then I found aerial acrobatics, and I actually was a freelance performer. I did some touring shows. I was a coach. I have some students in Cirque du Soleil today. Like, I have students I taught who knew nothing in Cirque du Soleil today, and that's probably one of the greatest honors I have, to teach somebody. I love teaching, and I think that's what I love to use this platform for, is I love teaching people about things, and I want to corrupt everybody into board games. I'm going to teach you to love what I love so that I have friends. Basically, I'm making you my friend.
Oh.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I have people on my side going who've seen me. They're like, ask her about the flying squirrel. And I feel like you, of all people, because of your game, which I have right over here, will appreciate this. I used to be fun. I was never an elegant performer. You've seen me, I'm awkward. So basically,
no.
Like,
you're dynamic.
Beautiful.
You're dynamic and boombastic. You're boombastic. And being boombastic means you can be like a Super Bowl. Right? A Super Bowl is high energy and precise and wonderful to watch, but it is not like a swan.
No, I'm not a swan. I'm the duckling.
No, you're a Super Bowl.
I embraced that then too, and I think that's my journey in aerials and here is very similar, because I started off thinking I had to do what everybody else did, and I tried to do very specific, like, how-tos and things like that, and it didn't work for me. And then I found out doing my little stupid dances and featuring a game could get a publisher just as many sales on a game as that did. And with aerials, I finally just like, well, if I mess up my act, I'm just going to go into it. And one day I was cold, so I put on a flying squirrel outfit. And I didn't want to take it off, so I performed in it. And then it became a bit. And I always would perform in a flying squirrel onesie, like the kigurumis that you zip up and they've got the long things.
Yeah.
And they're like, can you do a drop in that? I was like, I don't know. And I did it, and then it became a thing. But I'll tell you, the first time I did it, it was phenomenal. Second time I did it, I was like, this is really hot. because I performed outside in the summer at these events. And then the third time I was like, and I just did it for the people at that point. It was no longer fun for me, but I knew how much joy it brought everybody else. I was like, we're going to do it. And then the squirrel outfit died because it had been too much.
Let's talk about this. This is very important. And Azkadalia has this quality that helps you find your voice. A fearlessness, a willing to experiment, but also knowing when enough is enough. Like, I've done this. I need to move on. It is time. Like, this was a bit. I'm glad I did it, and so forth and whatnot. Azkadalia, that's great. I love this because I am the Kevin Bacon of occupations. I am one step away from now I am that much closer to Cirque du Soleil performers. That makes me exciting.
Don't you love it?
I do love all this kinds of stuff.
I also love that you mentioned you're the Kevin Bacon of occupations, because I know Gnarly Carly said she was the Ryan Reynolds of board gaming, and somebody at Gen Con, 2 people told me I was the Miss Frizzle of board gaming. And I was like, I'm okay with it. I'll own that one. I'm fine with it.
So one of the benefits for finding your voice and participating in this community is being part of the community. Like, it is super fun. Like, as an industry going and people helping each other out, it is a fantastic place. Also, it's a sort of weirdly small place. Like, if you do something evil, like, everybody knows. And so true. What ends up happening being evil people, you start trusting people because you know that this is a self-policing, like, positive group.
Community watch.
Yeah, we weirdly have board gaming community watch, which is really important. Also because we're working towards, inclusivity and diversity and all these things as young people and young voices are getting involved in board gaming in various ways, from either writing games to doing game media to publishing games if they're going to be publishing their own. All this stuff is happening, and these two things are interacting, and I think in a really positive way. And it's because people are encouraged to be a version of themselves, a best version of themselves that inspires joy in other people. To steal Justin from Charity Board Gamers, like, inspiring joy, let's game with joy. Like, this is very important.
Yeah, for it to stay consistent, to keep going, we need to protect it. And I think that's one thing out of all the communities I've been in. I've been in the Ren Fair community, the horror community. I've been in so many of these communities, and I've been welcomed relatively easy and quickly into all of them.
That should be a statement for you about how awesome you are, Azkadalia. You're easy to love. You're very easy to love. I am hard to love. I am like,
you are not.
I am like that weird, like, candy corns. Who loves candy corns? I'm sure somebody does.
Okay, you want to hear something really funny? I love candy corn, but I love these things, and nobody likes these things.
What are they?
Peanuts.
Oh, yeah. You are the only person on the planet they make those for, Azkadalia. Yeah, I am like the circus peanuts of, like, game publishers.
Well,
I
love you, Seppy. I love you. And I love how badly you lose at tiny towns on Sovereignty.
I am really bad at certain games. I will fail.
So bad.
I will fail so hard at games. It's almost crazy.
It's all right. You didn't end up with a negative score in Scout multiple times. Always a negative. I'm always a negative.
I love Scout. All right. So this is one of those changes in board gaming. There are more and more people, and I don't want to do gender stereotypes, but I find this happens more often when I play with women tables or tables that are mostly women, that people can play a game, enjoy it, and have zero chance of, like, going for the gold. Like, just being there, playing the game is the victory. And I love this. Like, I've been hurt too many times by people older than me, and I'm very old. And so this hard competitive nature Like,
Some people
I'm
get
going
so competitive.
I feel like I'm at this point that adult schedules are the real villain here. And that if I got some game, then that's a win. I'm winning.
Yeah. I feel that I say that to everybody. They're like, you can look at my BG chat. I lose all the time. My friend Randy will say I win. Only when Randy is playing will I win. But I don't care. And everyone's like, why do you love board games if you always lose? And I was like, because I got to play it. Because it got on the table. And I got to learn something. And whether it was about myself, because I find more often than not, I learn more about myself when I play a game with different mechanics than I learn about the game. And I love that. I love that because different puzzle games, and it helps me in the real world, like different kinds of puzzles and strategy games. I love that. And
all right,
like,
that is a critical element of your voice. Playing games helps me discover things about myself. Yeah. This is the kind of connections that we're really looking for when we talk about finding your voice. It seems like a really amorphous, like, finding your voice isn't about doing this thing that people will gravitate towards because that's what everybody's doing. Finding your voice is that thing that you gravitate into yourself, and your love for yourself will project outwards. There will be people that will be on board with the fun. I mean, it helps that you're a seasoned performer, right?
I do know that does come into play with me being able to do TikToks the way I do them, and people liking them is because I have that history of being a fairy for 12 years at the Renaissance Fair, or
I have a history of being a fairy for 50 years. So that is plus years. That is thing that you and I share.
Did you get airbrushed in gold too?
We don't talk about that, Azkadalia. Let us not. What happens at circuit parties? What happens at circuit parties and Southern Decadence stays at circuit party and Southern Decadence. Azkadalia.
Right, I'll leave it for now, but maybe.
So like, find this thing that you gravitate to for yourself. If people aren't following Board Game for One Mike's content is evolving rapidly. It is hysterical to watch. I would.
Oh my gosh.
He is on a journey, and I am there for it. I love it so much. And again, it is about a thing like being ridiculous, enjoying that ridiculous version of himself. And he also has an acrobatics and he's as a full-time job, or his grown-up job, he's a gymnastics coach.
I did know that, didn't I? That is so, we should get together and do a TikTok.
You guys should. Oh my God.
Gymnastics aerial TikTok. It'll be great. It will be a disaster.
Yeah. He occasionally he gets on the rings and other kinds of stuff. And I'm like, that's serious. Like, man in his late 30s, I assume he's in the late 30s, able to do the rings is quite a statement.
I mean, as most people know, I get asked behind the bar all the time if I'm old enough to be behind the bar.
What?
So people find out. I'm in my mid 30s. They're like, I'm getting there, but I'm not that old. But just to know my body is just like not having it once you take that hiatus from something physical, and then you try to go back to that thing physical, and your body's like, I know how to do it, but I can't do it.
There's like stretches and muscles. These two things, they require constant. Old. Yeah, and they can need constant upkeep. It's crazy.
Yes, they do.
So you do have some physical humor in your stuff. There's some dancing and so forth and whatnot, which is great. But can we take a moment, since TikTok is your main platform, to talk about changes in the algorithm and if you've decided to make adjustments based on what's coming up? Do you want to talk about what specifically I'm talking about, or do you want to take your first shot?
No, I mean, yeah, let's focus it. Let's focus it, because I can go off on tangents.
So for folks who don't know, the app's algorithm changes almost on a monthly basis as they tweak it. But they also then make major shifts that they announce. And one of the major shifts they announce is moving with the platform as the folks who were the bulge of the platform are getting older and want different things. And as the success of other platforms like YouTube is becoming the main search engine for things and products, like people are moving away from Googling it to YouTubing it, and TikTok wants to be a place where people do that as well. So they're interested more and more with people doing captions and hitting those SEO words. So that is a number one thing. If you're interested in having a regular presence on this app, I highly recommend, because it doesn't have anything to do with altering your voice, but it has everything to do with your success, is understanding how the algorithm is perceiving your commentary that you're making with this kind of thing. Are you still there?
Yeah.
It gave me a weird warning.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm still here.
All right. Okay. That's great. The next thing is, longer form content, because it's meaningful and that's kind of stuff. So the shift from 8-second dance videos is now the platform is steadily trying to shift itself to more educational, engaging content. And so the shift is now going from 8 seconds to maybe 30 or 35 seconds. So how does that work with what you've established in your audience?
So when I first started, I just picked sounds. I really had no rhyme or reason. And then I started looking into it. And this is something that I still do try to do research in. Captions have always been important to me. One, because for me as a user on TikTok, I have slight hearing loss. Also, I'm generally out and I don't like trying to hear things. It's rough for me. Or like, you don't want to be that annoying person in line, like watching TikToks when you don't have your headphone. So I like to see what they're saying. So it's nice to do that too. So I've always made it a priority to try to do captions. But the most annoying thing with captions is you do have to put effort into it, because you have to go edit them. If you don't edit them, bad things happen. Okay. I have some I forgot to edit. And they say things. And then also the time change is a big one, because it used to be I could get more views and I could get more interaction and I could get things further with 7 seconds or less. If you can get it in 7 seconds less, and do you know how little you can do in 7 seconds? It's difficult. And now I do a lot, like I vary it. So I try to do a little bit of everything. I'll do a full 3 minute. I'll do that. And I do try to keep the captions in there. You have to, if you want board games to come up, you have to put it in something, whether it's in the captions or in the title, you need to put it there. And the hashtags being consistent can be difficult too. And using those trending ones, even if it has nothing to do with it. I don't like doing that, but I know it's something that you do. You find the top 3 trending ones to get it out to new people who may like it too.
Now these are two different topics. But these two are related. Finding, like, being comfortable with working the algorithm and understanding that your content and your voice isn't inherently good or bad. You decide, like self-love, whether or not it is good and bad. And as you continue to experiment and do consistency, you will find things that you enjoy to do, and you'll find new things that you enjoy to do, and you'll improve your own, like, as a professional performer, you understand that these are the things that this repetition, this being comfortable with yourself is what gets it done.
Yeah. And it's those little things like finding your voice in it. Like, I have no issue with doing the fun performance styles, but it's the things I'm still looking for and struggling with in finding my voice and figuring out how to do it best is in what is best for everybody else. Like, are these captions important to people? Like, how do you get this out to the people that you're looking for? And the people, not just anyone though. Like, I don't want 25,000 followers of just anybody because they liked one thing of mine. There's the people who go viral for that one video, and that's great.
Oh, it's actually very hard on your algorithm. My most successful videos are not my everyday videos, to the point where I had to like explain what my content is like. Problem. It has crushed my growth, because there's a whole section of people who are showing up for weird things that you can see at the con, or dice videos that are in my feed, and I love them, but they do not like all my content.
No, and I get that. I did an accidental one that went viral, and I mean millions viral. And it was me going like, have you seen this movie? It's like, it was like, that sounds like, have you seen this movie? And it said Geppetto, but then I revealed 10th Kingdom, which is one of my favorite movies, but it has nothing to do with my content. And that is the video that everybody's looking for. Now I have everybody in there like looking for that. And I did experiment at that time, like trying to combo my content, because I do love that stuff too. And the next video on 10th Kingdom I did not do well. And I didn't enjoy doing it anyway, so I was kind of happy it flopped. But it was interesting to see that they all came for that and stayed for that. And then when I did the content on it, they're like, don't care. And I did have some people stay for the board game things and things I genuinely wanted them to care about. But it was very kind of traumatizing to me for a minute. Like, I will say that I got creator like stumbled, because I was like, what do I do?
Yes, this is an important.
Like, what do I do?
Let us take a moment to talk about this. Like, do not let the algorithm determine your fate.
Yep.
Everybody I know who has survived the algorithm has come to terms with it being like, if you make content that you believe in, then you will get there. So Mystere Games has talked about in my feed, the idea of keeping my content to my primary goal rather than reaching more people is a constant struggle. Obviously, as a game publisher, I am trying to get my brand of fun in front of more people so that they can engage with it, right? And from sort of like a marketing, historically, people need to see this thing that you want to engage with between 9 and 12 times before they're going to make that choice. That's how junk mail works. That's how all these things. Yep. When Becky is on from Rainbow Rabbits, this is the kind of thing that we end up talking about, because she's also grown up in marketing. But that being said, a good content will lead to more followers. But you do have to survive making it on your own, and you have to survive, learning how best to harness the algorithm and not get discouraged when the algorithm decides to go different places. One of the number one reasons that people are choosing different platforms is that the different algorithms, behave differently, and some more consistently than others.
Yes. And honestly, everything you just said, I just went through, because, I went through a huge move, and I'm still not even through it. And It's been moving for the last 8 months of my life, and I'm
Whoa, what just happened?
What?
How did that? How did that happen? Did somebody give you a gift and end up?
Yeah, it takes on more games than that. I'm sorry, it threw me off so much. What happened?
Cowgirls got it.
Thank
My
you.
Gosh. Woo!
Okay, sorry. That was so good. I'm so sorry. Anyways, I just had that, moving in here and trying to figure out, I had it set up how I wanted it, and I could consistently comfortable come up with what I wanted to do. But I literally felt stifled for a little bit moving in here, and I kept making content. It would only get 100 views or 20 views or 30 views. And I was like, okay. And I wasn't feeling great about the content. So I was like, I stopped. I'd maybe post once a week or once every few days, and I felt bad. But at the same time, I wasn't wanting to just mass produce a bunch of things I didn't like. And in the last month, I started to really go back into my favorited sounds and things like that inspired me before, and kind of revisit some things. I went through and watched all of my TikToks and saw what I did in the beginning, and I started getting really inspired about where I was then and where I am now. And I just started genuinely seeing things that I used, or the notes that I used to taking them and going, okay, we're going to do this now with the things that I have now, because obviously I've gained more games. And the one I did yesterday about 10, I have a game called 10, and I had a sound called 10. It was perfect. And I started to see the engagement, and the people resonating with this content more. And it was nice because it was the content I was resonating with more, that I felt really good and confident in making. You could see they liked it as opposed to whatever I just threw on to throw on. And
all right,
this is happening the last 2 months.
This is an important aspect of your voice. Be comfortable with revisiting your earlier successes. We have this idea, I did it, everybody's seen it before, but the answer is probably not. Like especially if you look at views of something that's been earlier, especially if you liked it, like one of the things that I did that I absolutely loved is I did stop motion for the panda meeples.
I love that.
This is so good. I loved it so much. It didn't catch. I would love to do that again. But the idea of, I'm coming up on a year now next month for TikTok. Which is crazy. And also understanding that sometimes you're allowed to give yourself a break. Like Jasper saved me this week by his ridiculous nomination of best TikTokers of 2022. That
I kept hearing about that. I didn't know what was going on though.
He's being insane and I'm there for it. Again, hey, if you're doing something crazy, I'm on board with it. And something that you can do is just participate with the community and other people's content. If you're having a hard time getting those creative juices going, just doing a thing will unlock you a lot of the time. And so people are always interested in stitches and so forth and whatnot. If I could do as an inspired version of Mondo Davis as Charlie and Becky does, I would definitely do a Mondo.
All those.
They're incredible. And the thing about TikTok is the games that people are playing with each other. This platform has more of that in a sort of an expressive way, an engaging way than other places. And so just play the games that other people are asking you to play on the platform itself. This just in time and this kind of activity will help you find your voice, or at least help you hit content so you feel less bad about posting. And even if it does not help your channel, it's helping somebody else feel good about their stuff.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I really love. If I like something, I had somebody stitch, Mark, he's in the UK, he stitched something I did at Origins, and I died. Honestly, it just have somebody interact with your own content is great, but I know how it did it for me. So if I see somebody else's I can interact with or help with, or even if I don't feel like it's something I could stitch or duet or do anything with myself, share it. You can repost now on TikTok, which I love. And I share it to my Instagram stories. I'm like, hey, you guys, if you like me, you'll like this kind of thing. Share that. I love it. And I'm so excited that we all do that. And it's been happening more this last month. I have one particular follower and I love them. They'll duet a lot of my videos and they're so creative with it. I had one, I was popping out of a box and he just spit out his coffee. He's like, what the heck? And I just thought that was just so funny. He didn't add to any board gaming aspect of it, but I loved the shock value of that's probably what he did when he was watching the video because nobody expected me to jump out of a box. And I love that, seeing genuinely on your faces. I can't see your reaction to my content. To see it and what it inspires you to do, that is magical. And I know I messaged you earlier about potentially helping me with my milestone of getting people to collab together on a video for when I hit 7,000 on TikTok.
7,000 so big, Azkadalia. That's great. Okay.
I don't know
all right. A couple of things in my comments because this is a live. We should engage with the audience.